There comes a moment in every life, a moment when the soul cries out, "I can't live like this anymore." Maybe you felt that cry lately. Maybe it woke you in the middle of the night. Maybe it whispered through your loneliness. Maybe it screamed through your regret. But it was there, that deep yearning, not just to improve, but to become unrecognizable. To wake up 7 days from now and not recognize the broken, bitter, barely alive version of yourself you see in the mirror today. This message is not for the comfortable. It is for the hungry, the desperate, the ones who know deep in their bones that something has to change, and fast. I don't speak today with ordinary words, I speak with urgency. Because we are not promised another week. We are not promised a second chance. But if you give me the next few minutes, if you lean in and truly listen, this could be the last week you ever feel this stuck, this small, this unseen. You want a breakthrough? It starts with the brutal honesty that you can't keep living as you are. You can't keep playing small, numbing out, scrolling past your calling. There is a war for your mind, a war for your soul. And you win it not by waiting, but by waking up. Not next year, not next month, this week. The world may have told you you're too far gone, too old, too tired. But let me tell you something, heaven is not finished with you. You may have made mistakes, but you are not a mistake. You may be broken, but you are not beyond repair. In fact, your brokenness might be the very soil where your transformation takes root. There is a version of you that hell is terrified of. A version of you that walks in purpose, that speaks with conviction, that lives with fire in their eyes. But that version won't come from comfort. It will only come from commitment. Commitment to change. Commitment to truth. Commitment to rising every morning this week with a clear and determined voice. I refuse to live one more day as the lesser version of me. So how do you do it? You start with the first hour of your day. Wake up early. Silence the noise. Confront your thoughts. Begin your day with truth, not temptation. Refuse to pick up your phone before you pick up your vision. Read something sacred. Speak something true. Write down who you're becoming. Not who you were, but who you will be. This week, you stop gossiping about your life and start governing it. This week, you shut down distractions and ignite direction. This week, you look in the mirror not with shame, but with sacred defiance and say, you're about to meet the real me. Yes, it will be hard. Change always is. But your comfort zone is a cage, and you weren't born to live caged. You were born to rise, born to lead, born to reflect the glory of something greater than yourself. In 7 days, you can become someone your past would never recognize, someone your pain no longer controls. But it starts with a holy decision, a decision to do. Fight. A decision to believe that your story isn't over yet. Not even close, and when this week is over, you won't just be different. You'll be dangerous to darkness, to doubt, to everything that ever tried to destroy you. So let the world see the before and after. Let them be shocked. Let them ask, what happened to you? And with a quiet fire in your voice, you'll say, I woke up. There comes a sacred moment in every life when everything changes, not because the world changes, but because you decide to. A moment when the weight of delay becomes too heavy, when excuses no longer satisfy the soul, when the pain of staying the same finally exceeds the fear of change. That moment, friend, is not random. It is divine. That moment is the start of transformation. And it begins with just one decision. Not 100, not a dozen, just one. Because one true decision made from the depths of your heart has more power than all the half-hearted intentions you've ever carried. The truth is, most people live their entire lives drifting, reacting, surviving, but never deciding. They think time will heal them. They think circumstances will somehow shift. But time doesn't change people, truth does. And the truth is this: if you do not rise and choose, you will stay the same. This is the first and most terrifying truth about change. It doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. That decision, the one burning in your gut right now, is the spark. And don't you dare believe it has to be a perfect decision. Most people wait for the right moment, for clarity, for confidence. But they don't understand. That clarity comes after commitment, not before. The seas do not part until your foot steps into them. You will not feel ready. You will not feel strong. You will likely feel like trembling. But trembling is not weakness. Trembling means something sacred is happening inside you. That your spirit knows this is not just another moment. This is the one. The decision to change, to truly, radically, permanently change, does not begin with better resources or more motivation. It begins with a cry from the soul that says, "I will not die like this." And once that decision is made, something begins to move. Heaven leans in. The darkness grows uneasy. Because when a man or woman decides to rise, to cut off the past, to choose purpose over patterns, they become unstoppable. They become unrecognizable. What you do after that decision matters. But nothing matters until that decision is made. That one moment of resolve sets the tone for your entire future. You must stop waiting for a rescue and start declaring war on everything that has held you down. This is not about hype. This is not about wishing. This is about warfare. Inner warfare. A refusal to let fear, failure, shame, or old identity dictate one more step of your journey. The moment you say yes to transformation is the moment the chains fall, the fog lifts, and your soul begins to breathe again. You don't need a plan. You don't need to be perfect. You just need a decision so loud in your soul that the noise of your past finally goes silent. 1 week from now, the person you are can be nothing like the one reading these words today. One decision is all it takes to make everything change. There is a lie that's been whispered to you over the years, maybe by others or maybe by your own wounded mind, that who you've been is who you must always be. That your past defines you, that your mistakes are your identity, that the failures behind you are the ceilings above you. But let me tell you a truth louder than that lie. You are not finished. You are not trapped in the shell of your former self. You are not condemned to live in cycles of regret. Who you've been may have brought you to this moment, but it does not get to decide where you go from here. There is something greater within you, something untouched by shame, something that still carries purpose. You are not your worst day. You are not the voice that broke you. You are not the label they gave you. What you are is becoming. And the powerful, beautiful, and often painful part of becoming someone new is that it starts with letting go of who you were. That might mean walking away from old habits, old mindsets, old relationships that keep pulling you backward every time you try to rise. That might mean grieving the old version of yourself, not because you hate them, but because you've outgrown them. There's no shame in that. It takes great strength to realize that survival mode is not the same as living. Maybe you had to build walls once to protect yourself, but those walls are now keeping out your future. Maybe the person you had to be then, quiet, cautious, angry, guarded, was necessary. But that doesn't mean they still serve you now. Growth requires death, the death of what no longer belongs. The truth is, becoming unrecognizable to your past self is not a betrayal. It's a breakthrough. Every powerful transformation starts with the willingness to say, I don't know exactly who I'm becoming, but I know I'm not staying here. There will be moments when you feel lost in the in-between, no longer who you were, not yet who you're becoming. But that space is sacred. That's where your true self is forged. Don't fear that tension. Embrace it. It means you're in motion. It means you're alive. The people around you might not understand. They might ask, "What happened to the old you?" And with peace in your heart, you'll be able to say, "She's gone. He's gone. That version of me served its season, but I've stepped into something new." You don't owe your old life an apology for outgrowing it. You owe your future self the courage to keep going. Who you've been got you here, but it cannot take you further. This next version of you, they will speak differently, walk differently, think, lead, love, live differently, because they are not limited by yesterday. The fire in you is still alive, and today you have permission to rise from the ashes of your old identity and begin again. Pain is not your enemy. It is your signal. It is the alarm clock of the soul ringing out loud in the middle of a life that's been too quiet, too numb, too stagnant for too long. You see, pain comes when something deep within you knows you were made for more, but you've been settling for less. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to wake you. And the longer you ignore it, the louder it gets. That ache in your chest when you look at your life and feel something missing? That anxiety in your spirit when you realize how much of your potential you've buried beneath fear? That moment at night when you're alone and the silence feels unbearable? That's not weakness. That's not brokenness. That's your spirit knocking on the door of your attention saying, "Wake up, this isn't it, there's more." The people who live the most powerful lives are not the ones who never felt pain. They're the ones who let pain teach them. Let it transform them. Let it rip away what was false and reveal what was real. Pain doesn't ask you for permission to show up, but it does offer you a choice. Will you numb it or will you answer it? Most people spend their lives hitting the snooze button on the pain in their soul. They drown it in distractions, bury it in busyness, try to silence it with substances or surface-level success. But pain ignored doesn't vanish, it grows. And what could have been your awakening becomes your affliction. The ones who change their lives in a single week, the ones who become unrecognizable, they are not the ones who avoided pain. They are the ones who faced it. They let it strip away every illusion and show them the truth. That the life they've built is too small for the calling inside them. That the relationships they're in are draining their light. That the habits they've clung to are slowly choking their destiny. Pain is the great revealer. It shows you what's broken, yes, but it also shows you what still burns. It shows you the places in your soul that are still alive, still reaching, still hoping. If you listen closely, pain is not saying this is the end. It's whispering, this is where you begin again. Let this pain become sacred. Let it push you to prayer, to reflection, to truth. Let it humble you, strip you, and then remake you. Because every great revival, every rise, every breakthrough, every transformation starts with a moment when someone decided to stop running from pain and started learning from it. This week could be the week you stop medicating your wounds and start listening to what they're really telling you. Not that you're weak, but that you're ready. Ready to break the cycle. Ready to rise. Ready to stop pressing snooze and finally wake up to the life you were meant to live. We live in a world that glorifies ease, celebrates shortcuts, and sells comfort like it's salvation. But the truth, the raw, uncheckable truth, is that no meaningful change, no deep transformation, no lasting freedom ever came through comfort. It came through discipline. And not the harsh, punishing kind the world fears, but the kind that is sacred. The kind that leads you straight into your future. You see, most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's restriction. They think it's control. They think it's suffering. But real discipline? It's deliverance. It's the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. Without it, you stay trapped. Not by chains on your hands, but by patterns in your mind. Discipline is the tool heaven gives you to break those patterns and build something higher, something stronger, something new. When you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, that's freedom. When you say no to what's easy and yes to what's right, that's freedom. When you keep showing up, when you train your mind, when you guard your habits, when you speak truth over your day even though doubt is screaming in your ear, that's freedom, and it all starts with discipline. The small, consistent daily choices that may seem invisible but are forming the foundation of an unrecognizable future. You don't become someone new by accident. You become someone new when you stop serving your feelings and start serving your future. Discipline is how you break the grip of distraction. It's how you reclaim your attention from everything that's been stealing it: social media, laziness, procrastination, fear. Discipline is how you stop the bleeding, how you silence the lies that say, "This is who you are. This is all you'll ever be." It's how you rise. It's how you build. It's how you prove to yourself, not others, yourself, that you are no longer bound by your impulses, that you are no longer a slave to what's easy. The people who look free are not the ones who do whatever they feel. They are the ones who do what needs to be done, regardless of how they feel. That's real power. And that power is available to you right now. Not next month. Not when you feel stronger. Now you might not see the results today. You might not feel the impact tomorrow. But over time, discipline will do what motivation never could. It will rewire your mind, rebuild your confidence, restore your identity, and reignite your soul. Discipline is not a prison. It is a path. And though it is narrow and steep, it leads to life. Every time you choose discipline, you are choosing freedom. Every time you act on purpose, not on pressure, you are delivering yourself from the cycle of comfort that's kept you small. And when you look back a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, you won't just see change. You'll see someone unrecognizable. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Every day you wake up, a war begins not outside of you, but within you. It is silent, it is subtle, but it is real. It's not a battle for money, fame, or control. It's a battle for something far more powerful: your identity. Because if the enemy can confuse you about who you are, he never has to chain your hands. Only needs to cloud your mind. The fight is over your thoughts, your worth, your voice, your future. And it's happening whether you're aware of it or not. You are being shaped, sculpted, and steered every moment, either by truth or by lies. Either by intention or by inertia. If you're not consciously choosing who you're becoming, you are unconsciously surrendering to who the world wants you to remain. Look around and you'll see the evidence. People living like shadows of their true selves. Women who have forgotten their strength. Men who have silenced their purpose. Souls who have traded their divine spark for approval, addiction, or apathy. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually. A voice here, a fear there, a disappointment that whispers, "See, you're not enough." A failure that shouts, "Why even try?" And before you know it, you are wearing an identity you didn't choose, one that was handed to you by pain, not purpose. But the truth is, you were never meant to live a life shaped by wounds. You were never meant to wear labels that limit you. You were created with fire, with vision, with the breath of something eternal inside your chest. That's why this war is so intense. Because the enemy of your soul is terrified of what would happen if you woke up, if you remembered who you are. If you tore off every false identity and stood fully in the strength you were born with. Not a shadow, not a copy, not a victim, but a warrior. The reason change feels so hard is because it's not just about habits, it's about identity. It's about breaking through the story that says, "I've always been this way." No, you learned to be this way. And what has been learned can be unlearned. What has been wounded can be healed. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not your parents' words. You are not your failures, your fears, your flaws. You are who you decide to be when the noise is stripped away. And that decision, that identity must be fought for. This war doesn't require swords. It requires stillness. It requires truth. It requires a radical commitment to remember who you really are every single day, even when everything around you tries to make you forget. The lies won't stop, but neither will the truth. And the moment you begin to declare truth over your life out loud, consistently, with courage, you take back the battlefield. This is not just self-improvement. This is a war for your becoming. And you don't win it by being passive. You win it by rising again and again until the real you stands, tall and unshaken. You are 1 week away from becoming someone they won't recognize. 1 week away from silencing every doubt, every label, every memory that told you you'd never change. 1 week away from looking in the mirror and finally seeing someone you respect, someone you built. But the choice is yours. You can rise, or you can repeat. You can awaken, or you can keep sleeping through your destiny. And make no mistake, destiny isn't something that lands in your lap. It's something you wake up to. It's forged in silence. It's built in discipline. It's carved out through commitment. And for many, it's lost not because they weren't called, but because they were too comfortable. Every soul is born with something divine, something powerful, something needed. And yet, most people will go to their grave without ever living in it, not because it wasn't there, but because they waited too long. Waited for a sign. Waited for the perfect time. Waited until they felt ready. But destiny doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Destiny moves when you move. And the uncomfortable truth is, you can change your life in 1 week. You can reset your mind. You can begin to build new habits. You can start walking away from every version of you that no longer reflects who you were born to be. You can stop apologizing for your fire. You can stop living small to make others comfortable. You can break cycles that have been passed down for generations, not with ease, but with intention. It starts with 7 days of sacred focus. 7 days of saying no to comfort and yes to calling. 7 days of doing what most people won't, so one day you can live like most people can't. People will doubt you. That's okay. Let them. In fact, let their doubt fuel your fire. Let it echo in your mind when you feel weak. Let it be the chimpanzee mendel that it meant the manadim and background noise while you become the person they never saw coming. You don't need their validation. You need your decision. A clear, focused, unshakable decision that says, I will not waste one more day pretending this is enough. Because it's not. You know it. Deep inside, you feel the restlessness. The tension. That's not confusion. That's calling. That's your future self shouting back through time. Wake up. I'm waiting for you. 7 days is all it takes to start. To make small, private choices that create massive public change. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need only to prove to yourself that this fire inside of you is not just a dream, it's a warning. That if you don't act now, you might never. And that's the tragedy. Not that we fall. Not that we struggle, but that we waited. That we kept pressing snooze on the very life we were born to live. Not because we couldn't, but because we didn't believe we were worthy. But you are. You always have been. And the world is waiting to see what happens when you stop playing dead and start living like your destiny depends on a dot, so here we are. Standing at the edge of the same 7 days that every other person takes for granted. But you're now longer blind to the truth. You now know that within 1 week, you can become unrecognizable not just to the world, but to your past, to your pain, and even to the version of yourself that almost gave up. This week isn't just a number. It's a doorway. And you either step through it with holy fire in your chest, or you turn away and keep walking in circles around the life that never quite felt like yours. You've heard the voice of truth. You felt the tug in your spirit. You've been given the keys to discipline, the invitation to transform, the permission to leave behind what no longer belongs to your future. Now the decision is yours. You can become the one who finally broke the pattern, the one who rose, the one who changed everything, not gradually, not eventually, but now. This is not hype. This is not emotion. This is a call. And if you don't answer it, if you don't move, if you don't rise, then know this. It won't be because you couldn't, it will be because you wouldn't. But if you do, if you dare, if you refuse to let one more week go to waste, then watch what happens. Watch what heaven does with your obedience. Watch what peace comes from your discipline. Watch how the fire of focus melts every chain that held you captive. Watch how the world steps back and whispers, "Who is this?" And with a steady voice you'll answer, "This is who I was always meant to be."